Hello makers and welcome back to Mixed Media Masters. It's really good to have you here. Now, like a lot of you, I really enjoy watching other artists show me their skill sets, but I'm always really impressed when people talk about the fact that this painting they've been working on took 300, 400, 500 hours to complete. That's a lot of time. And my brain kind of tries to figure out what the return on investment is. If you were to sell that, how much did you make per hour? Now, the thing about creating fantastic art is that it can be fantastic, but it doesn't always have to be time consuming. And one of the things about being an abstract artist is we can actually not take shortcuts, but we can approach our craft in a slightly different way. If the overall objective is to create something worth looking at, then let's create something worth looking at. I want to work on a project today that's not going to take a lot of time, and yet I really feel that the results are worthwhile and remarkable. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do. And by the way, I'm going to just ruin the surprise for you. And yeah, we're gonna make something that looks just like this. Again, I haven't seen it yet, but you have, so you're a chapter ahead of me right now. What I want to do is I want to focus on really our craft today. And I have in front of me here one of my favorite go-to media. I have a piece of 24-inch by 18-inch watercolor paper. This is 140 pound. And I like using this for a number of different reasons, not just watercolor painting, but I like acrylic painting and also for my work in cut paper. And we're going to do a little bit of combination between paint and cut paper today. And again, this should not take an awful long time, but really it's more about the execution and what we come up with than anything else. Let me share with you what I'm going to start with. I have here a Molotow marker. By the way, these as acrylic paint pens are one of my favorite. They're also crazy expensive, but it is what it is. You get what you pay for, I think. And this is a blunt tip, and you can see it here under this camera. And what I want to be able to do is I want to come in here to my piece of paper, and I want to start creating kind of vertical lines. Now, not just straight stripes. I want to be able to create an area where we can also start to embellish those lines later. Let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to come in here and just start at the top. I'm going to drag a line down here. I'm going to try to make it as straight as possible. And then maybe in this place I'm going to come straight across a little bit. And then I'm going to come down here. And I'll finish the line the rest of the way. And I'm going from the edge of my paper to the edge of my paper here. It'll probably be framed at some point, but for right now this is the kind of look that I want to be able to have. Now I also want to be able to work with the different sides and the content we have here. So let me come over right about here. I'm going to come over and start in the middle. And then I'm going to just kind of create a bounding box, if you will. I'll do something like that, and then I'll bring it in there. All right, so we have a couple of different lines. And again, the objective here is to create basically some places where we can also place our pieces of cut paper when we're ready to go for it. So let me see what else I want to be able to do here. I have here another section which I want to be able to bring, and let me just get one more line, and I'll bring it down the center here between these two different areas. Maybe just I'll do a quick jag over to here to this side. Now again, there's no right way to do this. What I'm trying to do is do a fairly even distribution of my black lines throughout the page, and I'm going to actually come up here and let me just do something similar where I'm going to come in. I'll grab a little bit of piece like this and then I'll come in. And that kind of fills in that area. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's hard to say. I mean, I actually am not unhappy with how things are laying out and the balance of the white sections to the black lines, but we're not there yet. The next thing we need to do is get into the cut paper. And now I'm going to reach into my magic milk crate of that. This is all paper scraps from previous projects. And I need to think a little bit about perhaps the color family I want to work with on here. I might just go for kind of crazy, wild, bright colors here. And again, some of these pieces of paper, they don't owe the world a lot right now. They've been abused. And yet, you know what? There's still some great colors in there. So I'm coming in here and, you know, I have a hot pink that I think will fit into this as well. Now, the colors I actually use in here are entirely up to me. Like I mentioned, if you're trying to create something that has kind of some consistency with a color family, you might have different shades of red or something that comes in here, or maybe something a little bit more earth tone. Now, I know my taste, and my taste has a tendency to run towards brighter colors. And all I simply want to do is grab my pair of scissors, which are my favorite craft scissors right here, And I'm going to come in and I'm going to cut just a piece of this color off of this page. And again, I might make it a little bit irregular just so it doesn't look too staged. And now the objective is to find a place where I can kind of drop it in on that line, like right there. Now, what does that mean for what we're doing? Well, I want to come through and I want to really almost decorate this like I was decorating a room, right? I'm going to come in here and I'm going to find different colors and I want to align them with this line or these lines here. Now, one of the things to keep in mind, or as an objective here, is that we can come in here also, I'll grab some blue here, and we can start to work on the other side of the line. So it's not like everything has to be inside a section or outside a section. And what I really want to be able to do is just come through here and grab some shapes. And by the way, I want some of these shapes to be a little irregular. I don't want them to look too squared up and perfect. I think it adds a little bit more of just interest to the piece if it's not just a straight rectangle or something like that. As you can see, and again, I'll move my colors out of the way so it doesn't get in the way of what we're doing here, is let me come in here and I'll grab kind of more of a square in here, and maybe throw that in right like that. And what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to disperse different colors across my piece so that it really is going to start dressing up the way we want to dress it up, right? Right now I want to be able to have some, again, we have white space, we have the black lines, and now we're adding these blocks of color to really enhance it. And I'm not gluing anything down yet because I may change my mind. I may come in and say, I think this color looks good here, but as I start to add more elements, I might change my mind and say, you know what, maybe that's not what we want to put there. Maybe we want a different color. So again, I can do things like that. Now I'm making a decision probably not to put anything on my horizontal lines here. I'm going to work just with the vertical lines, but again, I don't know that for a fact. I'm going to work on this a little bit more. Let me grab a few more colors from the bin here. Actually, that's that one there. So, and maybe I'm going to work with a little darker blue. Again, it doesn't all have to be bright colors. It can be some more, kind of standard colors. And you know what? Maybe on this piece, I'm going to just do something a little different. I'm going to round it. Why not? Why not just have something a little bit different and put that in the mix? And maybe I'll put that down here, like right on there. And on the inside line, let's see what we have here. I have kind of a lighter pink. This may work. I'm just going to create kind of a thin piece. Thin, a little bit longer. I'm going to put that right on the inside line, just like that. And again, I'm starting to see how these pieces are coming together. I like how they're working out. I'm also starting to look at my horizontal lines, thinking I might need to do something just to break it up. I don't want everything to just be totally straight up and down here. Let's see what else we have. I have a bright yellow. I think we can do something with a bright yellow. Let me create just a little square. And I have a thought on where to put that. And that's going to be right in this intersection right here. Look at that. Oh, I think that works. I think that works really nicely. And again, we're kind of bringing it down. Good. Now, when I also look at kind of these areas that are still empty, I want to think about how can I put another color in that works well with these colors here. So I've got kind of a red and a turquoise, a teal blue color there. Let's see what else we have. I have a dark green, and let me see what I can do with the dark green. I don't think it goes there, but I think it could work alongside where this orange is. That might work nicely. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to create a shorter piece like that, and maybe put it down like that, and maybe something else that will go above it a little bit. Having different thoughts on what to do here. Let's see. I have a lavender piece, and that actually may work right up here. I'm gonna create something that will fit there. Okay, and again, I'm not going to make everything too uniform. All right, that's not so bad right there. All right, a couple of other areas. I want to have something that fills in the space up here. I want to do something with this block, and I think I want to do something on these horizontals. So, and I'm trying not to repeat colors, but if I end up repeating colors, I end up repeating colors. Is this the same green? It is not. It is a slightly different shade of green. So I may put something up there, and okay, let me kind of just create a block, and I can put that so it goes in right there. And what else do we have here? And there's that same red color. Yeah, that's very close. Now the thing about keeping scraps, and I've been keeping scraps for years, is that, again, you know, when we have a perfectly good piece of paper that from a failed project or something that didn't necessarily fit our needs, it doesn't mean it's ready for the trash at all. Anytime we want to be able to just have a little piece of this color, kind of orange, this is a really welcome color to have, and I think it actually would fit right up here beautifully. So I'm going to just kind of create a piece, and I'm going to have this actually be a little rounded. It's going to be kind of different from the other ones. There we go. And now if I bring that up there like that, that looks pretty good. All right, I'm pulling pieces together. And again, I can move things around and get to a place where the piece is talking to me and saying, no, you know what we really need? I need a color right up here. I need something probably more in the blue or green range up here. I have a powder blue here, sky blue. I'm not sure what we would call that. So let's come in here and let's say that's going to be this piece right here. And we'll put it right up at the top. Aha! That's a good place for that color. And it starts to, again, widen this entire area. We're getting very close, I think, to what we need to be able to do. The last thing I want to be able to do is I think we're going to put some sort of color down here. Maybe I'll slide this up a little bit so we don't have colors too close together. What I have in here, I have an old strip of a darker purple, and that purple and that yellow goes so well together. So let me grab this piece here. I'll just cut it on both angles like that, and I think it would fit in there beautifully, beautifully. All right. Now I will say, and I will admit, again, one of these things is not like the other, and that is this piece right here. And I think I wanted to round it so we had some variety, but now it stands out kind of like a sore thumb. So I'm going to square it off. And again, I might leave it at a bit of an angle, but I'll create something that's less rounded. And I think that will fit the overall motif of what we're doing. And maybe I'll put the point at the top. Whoops, can't do it on that side. I'll put it up there like that. This can be here like this. And decide if I want to flip these, cut the corners off, rearrange them, do whatever I want here. But I'll be honest with you, I'm happy with how this is coming together. And again, it's taken us a few minutes to get to a point where we can lay some lines down and then figure out these different colors that can go into these different intersections and places. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my glue stick and I'm going to get to sticking, and when we come back, I'll show you what the end result looks like. Welcome back. Now, as you can see, I've had an opportunity to glue things down. I like how it's turned out. This is really kind of an interesting look. It's very simple, and that is really one of the objectives. One of the things about this type of project is that it shows that with just a simple paint pen in this case and some pieces of color, right? It doesn't have to be colored paper, it could be other things, but we can create something that's interesting to look at and will look great framed and up on a wall. Now again, there can be some variations on this. You could come in maybe circular pieces as opposed to these rectangles, but it really is going to come back to what is you want to accomplish, right? The beautiful thing about this is that you, with just a couple of ingredients, can create something very interesting. And this is a great project to work on if you have kids who are saying, you know, I don't have anything to do this summer. Well, guess what? You can give them something to work on. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you this week. Thanks so much, as always, for being here, and I hope this has inspired some good ideas for you. By the way, we drop a video every single week. We'd love to have you part of our little family, so feel free to hit that subscribe button down below, and we'll let you know when a new video drops. That's all I have for you this week. Thanks again for being here. I'm Spider, and I'll see you next time.